Welcome back to another FPL video, this time the best wildcard team for Gameweek 26, and this chip will be even more popular to use as early as Gameweek 26, and actually I used this chip last season in this very same game week and it went pretty well. The only problem was that it clashed with the Salah triple captaincy, but I have no such issues this time round, and this wildcard squad will cover not only Game Week 26 but also the long term, such as double Game Weeks 27 and 29 and blank Game Week 28. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If there are anything, maybe any positions you disagree with, then be sure to let me know. I'd very much appreciate it, and let's try to get this video to over 200 likes, and we're going to keep on pushing towards 20,000 subscribers. That'd be very much appreciated. But without further ado, let's jump straight into this video. This video is recorded early in the week. We have FA Cup matches and they will have a direct impact on blank Game Week 28. So I'm going to recap on this, and I've done this in the recent streams as well. The confirmed fixtures for Game Week 28. So the teams that will not blank and have a confirmed fixture already, and there could be a few others added on top of it. But as things stand, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace will go ahead. They will have a fixture in Game Week 28. The same goes for Aston Villa against Bournemouth, Chelsea against Everton, and Nottingham Forest against Newcastle. Those are the confirmed fixtures. We could still get a few more like Brentford versus Leicester, Wolves versus Leeds, and Liverpool versus Fulham, but we need to find out over the next week with the FA Cup matches, and we still have 2 more games in double Game Week 25. So all the ranks and points you see on the left hand side aren't fully updated, and look, this could be an issue with this wildcard squad, the fact that Raya and Forster are not guaranteed a fixture in Game Week 28, but if you have the free hit, then you could easily use it to navigate Game Week 28, or go for a different goalkeeper instead of Raya. Instead, maybe go for Kepa Arrizabalaga. My main issue with the Chelsea goalkeeper is the fact that Chelsea are not only off form, but Thiago Silva is going to miss the next 3 to 6 weeks due to injury, and I think that's a massive blow that hurts their chances of keeping clean sheets in the next few weeks. I still think they'll get some, like against Leeds potentially in Game Week 26, but I think Raya is the superior option. He's got doubles in 27 and 29, and I would favour him over Kepa Arrizabalaga. But if you don't have a free hit, then it probably is in your best interest to go for Kepa Arrizabalaga, so you are covered for Game Week 28. So let me know your thoughts on that one. I've always said in these videos, Pope, Raya, and Kepa Arrizabalaga are the 3 best goalkeepers in the game, and at different stages of the season, I kind of opt for one. At this moment in time, I would lean more towards Raya, but Kepa's still a good option, and he also covers Game Week 28 as well. So I'm not going to forget about him. I still think he's a good FPL option, but Raya is slightly better at this moment in time. The defense has been changing quite a lot in all these wildcard videos, but a few things remain constant, and that includes Kieran Trippier, who is still the best defender in the game. Newcastle have been a bit off form, but once Nick Pope comes back and they've got their full squad available once again, I can see some clean sheets coming up. Not against Man City in Game Week 26, but afterwards, I think they have a good run, and they don't blank in Game Week 28, which is very important as well for those of you looking to navigate that blank game week. So having Trippier and Botman not only gives you good gains from the Newcastle defense, but you also cover these blanks that are coming up, and also you could put another blank Game Week 28 defender as well, maybe an Aston Villa defender like Tyrone Mings or Tarkowski, but I would rather go for this balance because Zinchenko, whilst he doesn't have any doubles coming up, he's got some very good fixtures, and Arsenal have one of the best defences in the league, and you could take your pick with the Arsenal defenders, Zinchenko, Gabriel Saliba or Ben White. They're all pretty decent for the bonus points and quite similar in that regard, but you'd probably favour the likes of Zinchenko and Saliba a little bit more over the others. Ben White has that advantage/disadvantage of being subbed off early sometimes, and Zinchenko also is the best for assists out of the lot, with Gabriel having the most attacking threat in terms of scoring goals. So I think Zinchenko is probably the best, but it's a difficult one, and you could go for any Arsenal defender. Just it depends on your preference. And the other defenders include Ben Mee and Estupiñán, who have doubles in 27 and 29. Estupiñán is currently flagged, but De Zerbi is quite optimistic that Estupiñán will be back fairly soon, and it's all down to a late fitness test, so I wouldn't have any concerns about him. If Estupiñán were to be ruled out, then you could go for another Brighton defender, but I have to be honest, he is my favourite option, and he's been very consistent since the World Cup as well. And whilst you have other defenders from Brentford like Rico Henry, Ben Mee would be my preference there in the back line. And a double up in Brentford defence might not be everyone's cup of tea, but they've been very solid in recent months. Only one loss since October. They've been very, very solid, and I think Raya and Ben Mee are amongst the best in their respective positions. So this is a solid back line. You've got 2 double ups in Newcastle and Brentford. You could add another blank Game Week 28 defender as well, such as someone like Tarkowski or Tyrone Mings, but I would go for this, and I think this will put you in good stead for the next 5+ game weeks, and even after Game Week 30, when we have some fixture swings for Arsenal and Liverpool potentially, I still think this wildcard squad will get the job done. Many of you will be familiar with the midfield, and there hasn't been many changes, if any, from recent videos, but we've gone for a double up in Arsenal midfield with Odegaard and Saka. It's Martinelli stealing the show in the last 2 game weeks with goals, very crucial ones for Arsenal, and bonus points, but I would still go for Odegaard and Saka, who are more nailed on, and they also have the best in terms of bonus points potential. Saka's on penalties, he's the most in form of any Arsenal player, whilst Odegaard has been arguably the most consistent over the course of the season. So I'd go for that double up, but you could still go for someone like Trossard or Martinelli. It's just that their minutes will definitely be a big concern in future game weeks as well, especially with the Europa League coming on the horizon for the Gunners too. I've gone for Salah once again. I do prefer Harry Kane in the grand scheme of things, but Salah has a double in 29 against Chelsea and Man City, and he's also got some good fixtures over the next 4 or 5, but I have to say, I really like Harry Kane. He's my favourite premium besides Haaland. However, it has to be said, with this wildcard squad, with the 3 forwards we've gone for as well, it makes more sense to go for Mohamed Salah, who, yes, he blanked against Crystal Palace, but he's still the best Liverpool asset, and I would expect some returns for him over the next few game weeks or so. Marcus Rashford is just non-negotiable right now. One of the most informed players in the world, if not the most, according to some United fans, and to be fair, there's a really strong case for him, and despite his blank, his probable one in Game Week 28, I still think he's worth it, and you could captain him in Game Weeks 27 and 29, even though he doesn't have a double in Game Week 27. The last midfielder is Matoma, who would be one of the most popular transfers in this week and ahead of double Game Week 27, and most people will be going for either Tony or Matoma for the captaincy in double Game Week 27, and I'll have to be honest, at the moment I would slightly prefer Matoma, but it will be a very close call, and it's going to be a really interesting one to see how that debate develops over time. But this is a really solid midfield 5. I don't think there can be many disagreements about this or many debate, but I have to say, not having Harry Kane is probably going to be one of the weaknesses or possible issues with this wildcard squad. But you can't cover everyone. That's something that you'll learn quickly in FPL. Let's go with the 3 forwards who still are amongst the best in the game. There are only 4 forwards who have scored 100 or more points in FPL this season, and we have 3 of them in this team. Ivan Toney's the most transferred in player so far this week, and the numbers will only grow. My only concern for those of you looking to use free transfers or taking hits to get him in right now is the fact that if he gets yellow in 26 and then gets one more in the first game of 27, he will then miss the second game of that double game week. So that's going to be a very big concern. He's been getting a lot of yellow cards recently, but he's very good on penalties. He pretty much never misses, and he always gets the bonus points when he scores a goal, and he ticks so many boxes as well, of course. But Ollie Watkins is the one that does that more than anyone else at the moment. He doesn't blank in 28. He didn't blank in the blank game it just passed in 25. He also has a double in 29 and some good fixtures up until game week 30. So Ollie Watkins, the man in form, he set a new record for Aston Villa, scoring in 5 successive Premier League games, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made it 6 or 7. He is quite inconsistent overall, and he can have some very barren runs where he just fails to get that goal or FPL return, but he's been so consistent recently, and he deserves a mention. And if there was any Aston Villa player I would go for, it's definitely Ollie Watkins. The final forward is Erling Haaland. We all know about him. He would still be my favourite premium in the game despite Man City rotation, and of course the Champions League, the FA Cup also playing a part, and there could be further rotation even for the likes of Haaland sometimes, but I still think he'll start most, if not maybe all. If there's any Man City player, outfield one, that will start every game, it will be Haaland. But even if rotation were to become an issue for him, I would still include him in this side. And yes, it's a shame not to have Harry Kane in here alongside Haaland, but this front 3 will do the job for you over the next 4 or 5 game weeks. So Harry Kane, yes, whilst he will be missed, you can't cover everyone, and you've got a really good base here, and you're covering so many blanks and doubles with this 50-man squad, and this will only cost you 102 million. I've got 1.5 million left in the bank, and I'm not even going to show you proposed transfers or anything of that ilk. So as we go along, you're going to see the flexibility this wildcard squad offers you, and heading into blank game week 28, you're going to have 2 free transfers, and if you go for Kepa Varaya, you will have 7 players for that blank game week, and with 2 free transfers, you can easily increase this to 9. You don't necessarily need a full 11, because a lot of these teams that have a fixture, a confirmed one in blank game week 28 at this moment in time, they're not really the best in terms of fantasy prospects, with the exception of Arsenal and potentially Newcastle as well. So now let's head into FPL.team, visualize this squad in Game Week 26 and also in the future for the other blanks and doubles. The captaincy will be a difficult one to decide. I'm currently favouring Saka in my own team selection, and I probably would favour him as well in this wildcard squad too. But Erling Haaland and Rashford would be the other ones in the top 3 for the captaincy, although you could maybe consider an outside punt like Ivan Toney. But I would honestly go for one of those 3 consistent players. Rashford and Haaland would always have the edge, but because of the fixtures, you can maybe favour Saka on this occasion. We've gone for a 3-4-3 formation. Raya in goal, Zinchenko, Ben-Mee and Estupiñán. Then we've gone for Saka, Odegaard, Salah and Rashford, and then Watkins, Toney and Haaland. And on the bench we've got the likes of Mitoma, who you could actually start even over someone like Odegaard or Salah this week, and we've got Trippier and Botman completing the rest of the squad. I would have no issues benching Botman. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but even starting Trippier or Mitoma, I think it's definitely worth it, and you could consider that as well. And the other debate would be Raya or Forster in goal to start in Game Week 26, as well as the captaincy. But as you can see, a really solid base. You've got so much squad depth, and you also have some big decisions to make in Game Week 26 already. Now, if you go to Game Week 27, we've got 5 double Game Week players, 3 Brentford and 2 Brighton. I have said in recent streams, I wouldn't necessarily triple up on these teams. You don't need to. But with this wildcard squad, with the injuries to Chelsea defenders in mind like Thiago Silva, which reduces Kepa's prospects as an FPL option, I would favour Raya on this wildcard squad. But as I've always said, if you don't have the free hit, it would make more sense to add some more blank Game Week 28 players like Kepa over Raya, so bear that in mind. And if Leicester were to go out, then they will have a fixture against Brentford in Game Week 28, so these Brentford players will also add to your ranks in that blank Game Week. So we'll find out more over the next week, but as things stand, at the time of this recording, at the moment, we'd only have 7 players for blank Game Week 28, but for Game Week 27, 5 double Game Weekers, Raya in goal, a back 3 of Trippier, Ben-Mee and Estupiñán, a midfield 5 of Salah, Saka, Odegaard, Mitoma and Rashford, and they all have some very good fixtures on paper, and then Toney and Haaland up front, benching the likes of Watkins and Botman, even Zinchenko. That's a really solid bench. You could even bench boost this team, to be quite frank, but I'm going to show you right now what we're going to do. So if I were to use the wildcard myself, I'd probably use the bench boost in Game Week 29 and also free hit in Game Week 28 if the FA Cup results don't go my way with this wildcard squad. As you can see, the only players that have a confirmed fixture in blank Game Week 28 would be Trippier, Botman, Zinchenko, Saka, Odegaard and Ollie Watkins. The rest, very unlikely they'll have a fixture, but you just never know in FPL and also in the FA Cup, which always has a lot of upsets. But as you can see, those would be the confirmed players in blank Game Week 28, and this is without making any transfers, and there could be more fixtures added to this blank Game Week. And now let's move on to double Game Week 29 to conclude this video. In double Game Week 29, we're not going to have even 7 or 8 or 9, we're going to have 10 double Game Week players, and you could easily bench boost this squad. So you've got Raya in goal with a double, Trippier, Estupiñán and Botman all have doubles. We've even got Ben-Mee on the bench, who's got a double himself. Not a great one, but still, it's a double nonetheless. We've got a midfield 4 of Salah, Rashford, Mitoma and Saka. Saka's the only one without a double there, alongside Odegaard in the midfield. And we've got Watkins, Toney and Haaland up front. And as you can see, you've got 2 Arsenal players that are facing Leeds at home, Ben-Mee with a double, and Forster as well with a decent fixture. So this team could actually get you a lot of points with the bench boost and this wildcard squad. Now, the main issue going out of Game Week 29 is how you deal with the fixture swings as well. And you do have free transfers to tackle blank Game Week 28, Game Week 29, and also beyond. So you can also make some adjustments as we go along. But just with this wildcard squad starting in Game Week 26, you easily cover the next 4 or 5 game weeks with ease, and you should get a lot of points, and you're covering most of the main options in each of these respective blanks and doubles. In terms of the captaincy, I would definitely go for Rashford here with his double as well in mind, because the only other double game week I'd seriously consider would be Mitoma or Salah for the captaincy, but I wouldn't go for them over Marcus Rashford, to be quite frank. And Haaland, despite facing Liverpool at home, would still be a decent option for the captaincy too. The same goes for Saka at home to Leeds, but ultimately I think Rashford captaincy in game weeks 27 and 29 is very probable, especially in this double game week right in front of you. So let me know your thoughts on this wildcard squad. What would you change, and which other maybe teams have we not covered enough? Maybe should we have more Aston Villa players, Tyrone Mings at the back, or something else? I'm very open to your ideas as well, but I think it's a very solid base and foundation that will get you far, and it's also very flexible. and you can adapt with this squad and this wildcard to the other chips that you have at your disposal. You don't need to use the bench boost in Game Week 29. You could use it in Game Week 27 or even later in the season, and you could use the free hit in Game Week 29. But I think with this wildcard team, you don't need to use the free hit in this major double game week. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's try to get this video to over 200 likes, and let's also push on towards 20,000 subscribers and beyond. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check the links in the description below for my Patreon, the channel memberships, the Discord server, and the FPL League. All of that stuff is there. Thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel, showing support in all the live streams and videos, those who have sent in super chats, also the channel members and patrons themselves. Thank you very much for all the support, and I'll see you very soon.